Akwameni nchirem sesia no se oba nukunuwu na se no de eyase ho no wo hwe de wo ya oba no anase bema no osufa na wo bisa ho question se nukunu anase ne yere na wawu enu nti na osusa no anase pain a wafem from nukunu eno na okaka ya enu nti osusa ewo ho no after said that lumba no wechi drama akoso no afiansa John Kumah so nesem aba monchimonka highway no so some ho matumebo. Kindly subscribe to Trends GH on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Bibia Trends GH. Minemisa will be so say late Deputy Finance Minister, former MP for Ejiso. I'm talking about John Kumah. Otu and another one say I don't know. 1 year, 9 months later ni. Now so Eyadia Nejere Apostle Lilian Kumah we move on. Sana Apostle Lilian Kumah unimadientia last week after Oware Nukunu for Frono. I
will not allow pain to cage me. I believe in forward ever, backwards never.
Now this particular story we know yanko deep. So Apostle Lilian Kumah time wa Oshia the late husband John Kumah no na eyadia Apostle Lilian Kumah we di 19 years. And in fact, Oware John Kumah in the year 2006. So we show from 2006 ABC 2025 and bra Oware so 19 years so 1919 making 38. So Eyadia Apostle Lilian Kumah we did 38 years. And in fact, na Eyadia John Kumah or chain Apostle Lilian Kumah 7 years. After said John Kumah or Chan and one Seado Nigeria Apostle Lilian Kumah o movie on no. But Brenano sopa Apostle Lilian Kumah said Debbie we need John Kumah ending ye. John Kumah wu yano Apostle Lilian Kumah satime otibejum swan all soon adiano. Ama for crack kase eye pena John Kumah or the Apostle Lilian Kumah efemu no enu ti na South Sukra no or the asisa so no eno na Black Rasta o chem say from 2006 Apostle Lilian Kumah o ware eye late John Kumah no things were not the same anymore to the sense that John Kumah ni 2 executive secretaries whilst on Nigeria Apostle Lilian Kumah o no. Only 2 secretaries crampo no. Then they course and in fact, for the last 8 years, I will show my John Kumah of remove 2024. So we calculate here from 2017, ABC 2024. That's 8 years. I know the just said now buying eba power no. Now on an aya Nigeria. Apostle Lilian Kumah crowd no. In fact, I asked come na ede Apostle Lilian Kumah. Anyamena meka. Deep.
It took me time to decide that I would do this story. John Kumah died at the age of 45. He was a deputy finance minister of this nation. He was part of those who wrecked the economy of the nation with their carelessness when they served under the man who is a fugitive now, Ken Oforiatta. This man here called John Kumah was married to a woman by name Lilian Kumah. In fact, when they met in Obuasi, Lilian was only 19 years old. John Kumah dated Lilian for 3 months and they got married in July. In fact, the 27th of July, 2006 in Obuasi. At the time, John Kumah was not into any serious employment. He was not in any serious employment. Then after some time, he started cutting blocks, culvert style. They went through hardship. They were living in a house built of wood, tabo dying. My brother, my sister, they moved to Accra to slug it up with life. She gave birth to her first child when she was 20 years, Lilian Kumah. Poverty was so hot on their heels, but they continued to do their own thing. They got married, and then they had their first child when she was only 20. My brother, my sister, John Kumah was 7 years older than her when they got married. And oh, things were beginning to get better. It took Alan Chermatin to give John Kumah his very first job as a politician, as a personal assistant. And from there, other people started to realize how brilliant this John Kumah guy was. And therefore, they started engaging him before he even became a lawyer. And then he opened up a beautiful law firm at Adabraka. And all of us got to hear about it. It was beautiful. It was called Dia Aproche Chambers. Right there. And he employed a secretary, executive secretary, a sexy woman to sit in the office and receive clients. She was called Cynthia Ejewa Ajimai. Cynthia Ejewa Ajimai. They were in there doing their business. Lillian was into ministry, doing her own things. Hey, people started telling Lillian, it looks like your husband and the secretary are an item. But she would not listen. He's a man of God. He believes in the Bible. He won't do anything. Long story cut short. John Kumah, out of wedlock, had 2 children with this woman here called Cynthia Ejewa Ajimai. John Kumah had 4 children with Lillian. 2 outside. Added to that, they became 6. And this started to give problems to Lillian. She would not understand. She would fight John Kumah. John Kumah would always deny until he finally went down on his knees and begged for forgiveness and said, you know what? I have hurt you. It is true. Those 2 children are mine. At the time, they were living in Pantine. Pantine, far away from the CBD, Central Business District of Accra. And John Kumah built a house, a beautiful house he bought for his side chick, the executive secretary at Soweto, closer to the CBD. Now, having settled this, family spoke with Lillian and begged her and told her, you know what, Lillian? He's a man. A man can make mistakes. Just take it easy. She took it easy. Now, when Lillian approached her husband, John Kumah, the condition for which she would forgive John Kumah for fathering 2 more children within their wedlock would be to sack Cynthia Ejewa Ajimai. And John Kumah said, Wakamate, and sacked Cynthia. Cynthia was living in Soweto with her 2 children in a house bought for her by John Kumah. Now, she realized that there were still issues, and John Kumah relocated her to London. She is presently in London as we speak. Now, listen to the interesting thing. After Cynthia was sacked, a new lady was brought, and she was called Sewa. People simply called her executive secretary. And people came to Lillian again. Hey, have you allowed him to bring another woman? And Cynthia said, oh, we have spoken about this. We have prayed about it. The Holy Spirit is working. She got some pastors to go there and pray and anoint the whole place to cast out the spirit of prostitution and side chickism. But within a year, the woman was pregnant. Hey, say what? And gave birth. Johnny, what can you mobile or babium? Johnny said, what are you talking about? Am I the only man? Bam! She got pregnant again and gave birth to another child. My brother, my sister. And he denied it all his life. Now the information from the grapevine is that for the last 8 years that John Kumah lived, he and Lillian never lived in the same house. 8 solid years, no serious intimacy. He had a house in cantonments where side chicks could come and visit him. And again, he would always pay a visit to Lillian and the children for about a day or a few hours and always leave. They never traveled together. Sometimes I am told that John Kumah would say, oh, I am in Germany, or I am here, I've traveled. But he was right here in Ghana with a side chick. And information would come to Lillian. My brother, my sister, the only time they traveled together, from the information I have, my brother, my sister, was when John Kumah fell ill and was about to die, having been diagnosed by medical experts. And on his sick bed, as he was going, he asked for forgiveness from Lillian one more time and said, I know I've done a lot of bad to you. After I am gone, I'm sure you'd hear other things that I couldn't tell you. But let us pray that I am alive. I swear, if I don't die and I get up from this sick bed, you would see a new man. And he never rose again. He died. So he didn't get the opportunity to become a new man again.
So enyanrope, minim say late John Kumah otu ya nananom wonsia do no. Few months later, nano de yehu stories sa enenema bonten say eyade a John Kumah sikanko a efum ne account mu no. Ni widow Apostle Lillian Kumah we gbewra that account ni mu a wafa John Kumah ni sika eda account mu. Cha say ofum eye John Kumah ne japade bra John Kumah ne well ho sensam krampo no omumbie so. Eno na Black Rasta wa ba bonten abekire mu say information dey we aso amanfo nim ne omokeka na ono Black Rasta just say when you intel be from a close source na oka close source so dia na wonim say kiana ken say enfree Apostle Lillian Kumah na side a ne bekesua not long we say late John Kumah wenja 1 year well na 1 year well no ejapade ben e na Apostle Lillian Kumah one number 4 a one John Kumah ewo ye no ejapade ben no munyaye.
He died intestate, in other words, without a will. So they decided to go into what he had. Can I tell you what Lillian got? Bam! The family brought everything John Kumah had. And for each of the 4 children, biological children of Lillian, a tipper truck, a new car was given. So they had 4 trucks, tipper trucks each. One had 1, so 4 of them had 4 tipper trucks. I beg your pardon. And Lillian herself got 1. No, 3. 3 tipper trucks. So in all, Lillian and her children had 7 tipper trucks. My brother, my sister, she also had some land. And even the land, she had to go and fight and pay off some balances before she got that. And she got a 4-bedroom house given to her in Ejuso. When John Kumah died, he didn't have a penny in his account. And it's only here you would hear that. Deputy Finance Minister, he believed in liquidity. Keep the money home, spend it. Bank, no, 0. And from the grapevine, all the cars that John Kumah drove, none of them went to Lillian. Lillian built the church on her own. Christ Disciples. Disciples of Christ International. John Kumah came in later to support. She also has the Disciples of Christ International School. That is fetching her money. The 2 of them, husband and wife at the beginning, opened up a certain company called Majak. And they were supposed to be doing business together. It took Alan Martin to bring John Kumah into the fold of politics. And from that time, he blossomed because he was a brilliant guy. Did he have problems with his wife? Were they almost divorced? This issue is coming up now. Could it be the reason Lillian moved on quickly, telling us that she refused to be caged in pain?
So from last week, I able to just say Apostle Lillian Kumah we move on. I just say wa worry Mr. Samuel Ayukwenu. John Kumah nebusuafo me hu se bebrena no grant interview a omuchem se omo ye disappointed in Apostle Lillian Kumah because omo ebusuafo no still na no eyade a omomo ne. In fact, eyade a late John Kumah ni junior brother a omo friend Frank Kumah ono kra me hu se wa grant interview a ochem se omo ebusuafo no de Apostle Lillian Kumah all ko wari no kunu foforo we no. When inform me family no mu ya na say oh. Anasa no moti ya na say Apostle Lillian Kumah we move on. And on a Black Rasta, we interview late John Kumah, the younger brother. Our friend Frank Kumah. Ebano, our late brother, Nigeria, on the assassination. And some men are coming.
Yes, I would like to talk to you about some of the things I've seen published. And if you allow me, I'll do a very short recording, you know. Frank, about Lillian Kumah, did she tell you the family before she got married?
Not to my knowledge. The family does not know anything about it. We were not informed. And then even 3 months to this marriage, she came to my grandmother's funeral, but she never communicated anything to us that she wants to get married or anything. So we have no knowledge about it. I think a day after the marriage that somebody called me and then asked me, have I heard that our wife is getting married? And I said, oh no. And then he was able to send me some pictures. So that was when I got to know the woman has got married.
Okay. Now, the information I'm getting is that John Kumah had 2 children outside wedlock, and even a third one from America is now being brought in, whilst he and Lillian were married. Do you know about that?
What we know is John Kumah has 6 children. That is what the family knows.
Okay. And,
yes.
And 2 of them were coming.
During the funeral, everybody got to know John Kumah has 6 children. So that is what the family knows, that John Kumah has 6 children. We don't know about any other children anywhere.
Okay. Do you know if all the 6 children were coming from Lillian?
What we know is John Kumah has 6 children. That's what we know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the publication that I saw, you didn't seem to be happy about the fact that she got married too early, remarried. And your case is that your brother spent so much money to bring up the family and to take care of the family. Is that right? Is that correct?
You know, it's within her right to get married anytime, and then anytime she wants to. And then I think she has elders around her. She has family around her. And then I'm sure she consulted all of them, and then they gave her the advice to get married. We, the family, we don't have any problem with that. Our only problem was, you know, we are still mourning our brother. And then we because, you know, John Kumah was a very popular person. And small news about him, then it just gets escalated everywhere on the TV, social media, and stuff. And the most painful thing is the mom and the dad is still alive. And then they get to see their son picture on social media, and you know the news that comes with this whole thing. That is the problem. It lets the mom and the dad they just get reminds. They remember their son, and then every day they've not gotten over what happened. I think just a year ago. They are still mourning the son. So we didn't expect this kind of news again. At least she getting married, we have no problem on it. But the news that comes with it, that is the problem right now.
So the news coming with it is the problem. It's not really the marriage. But he still goes ahead to say that we are still mourning. She should have at least waited for the mourning period to elapse. You heard me ask him, how many more years? In fact, it's a long tape. And he said, some people decide that they won't even marry at all. But for him, they are still mourning, and Lillian should have waited for the mourning period to pass. My brother, my sister, We will not moralize it on anybody. John Kumah, is it true that he fathered more children outside his wedlock that he hid from his wife? John Kumah, if he was alive today,
na eba no gwele ho nsansam a minim se wankasa na watibi chese 4-bedroom ena Apostle Lilian Kumah onyaaye a chese number 4 no omoso no omunya tipa track baako ena Apostle Lilian Kumah ono de onya maako 3 so 7 tipa tracks ena afi 4-bedroom house but not late John Kumah ne account krampo no sika 1 peso akra no endem but eba no Apostle Lilian Kumah one ni late husband John Kumah aware na dia na ebusua nya enwema ni nyina no na ekoso yie because John Kumah one Nigeria ewo ho ni nyina no one eye ni 2 executive secretaries enyemoye according to information about bonte share wadwema me wo comment section ho na share video we se na be ya afoforo so omunsa ebeke bi makro